All right, guys, we've got UFC Fight Night coming up. We've got Ryan Spann in the main event versus Nikita Krylov. Man, last week you killed the bets. It was slaughtered the game. You killed the game, Brandon.
We did all right.
On our Patreon, we give our love 'em and our like 'em bets. Almost everything hit. It was a really, really good night. Tell us about the Discord, Brandon.
Yeah, we needed that. Full disclosure, not every week's going to be amazing, but last week was awesome. We bounced back big time. It's a great community. Some people leave, some people stay, but everyone hung in. It's a great community. We always build back. We get a lot of good, valuable information and a lot of smart brains. Trying to all help each other. So go sign up for the Patreon, the Discord. We got every category, everything that you can imagine. Really, really good community. Really good talk. Really good think. So. Yeah, go sign up.
And before we get into this week's fights, please like us on YouTube and, please subscribe and share. That's all we can ask. Appreciate it, guys. Let's hear what we have for this week. What's your shirt say?
Jiu-Jitsu.
What is that?
Jiu-Jitsu.
What does that mean?
Cool jiu-jitsu brand. I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like an actual jiu-jitsu shirt or if that was like a different brand of cool stuff that just happened to say jiu-jitsu something in it.
I don't know. It's just a jiu-jitsu brand.
All right. Nice. Hey, you don't need to know the answers to this. I'm just curious if you know the answers to that. We got another piece of equipment, which means we will be recording this 3 more times.
Probably.
So this is going to be the good version, you guys, where all the right picks are coming out, and we'll re-record this later with all the wrong picks when something doesn't work out for us. But you did well last week with your picks.
Yep, that was a much-needed week last week. We definitely needed that one. The only one that let us down was William Knight. And I don't know why I went with him. I just talked about how horrible he is, and you made a case for him. And then he goes out and does that. And I'm like, oh.
He William Knighted more than anyone has ever William Knighted.
I want Crute back because, William Knight.
I got to give you Crute back. Crute's back in the mix. Him and Choi, all the Chois.
No.
Wait, are we 0-7 on Choi's?
Yeah, Choi has let me down every single time. And even other Choi, just, draw.
Let us down. At least he didn't let us all the way down, but he definitely dropped the Choi ball on that.
Brutal.
It's a bad one. Will Knight, what did he say? He said he's getting death threats now, and people are yelling at him and screaming and sending him messages, which, what do you think? Are they, not that death threats are justified, but are people justified in being angry with fighters or someone when they bet and stuff like that happens?
There's a time and a place for all death threats.
You can't blanket send
them
out.
Went out there and got KO'd is what it is. Shit happens. But
yeah.
You put something like that? Death threats.
It's a bad one. We've gotten, I think it was Pacquiao was saying, I don't know if it was Mayweather or somebody, that his shoulder was messed up and it was like a big issue. We heard that with the TJ Dillashaw thing. Oh, I'm going in, blah, blah, blah. Even we mentioned it briefly, the Tyson Pedro thing. He was sick and went in and fought anyway. Bryce Mitchell fought, who did he fight? Topuria? Mm-hmm. And then, said the same thing. He's sick, Man, you kind of wonder, not only is it messing with our bets, which I don't really care about their lives, but it's messing with actually I do. But that's the other thing, is it's messing with their lives too. Why are these people taking these fights? Now, William Knight, I don't think had an injury or an excuse or anything. I think he just
didn't fight.
Said he froze.
Yeah.
It's funny, my wife just yesterday, the kids, Enzo, my son, who's watching this now, here in the podcast room, my wife was saying he had a basketball game yesterday, and they're just draining everything in the warm-ups. And then when the game came, she's like, why are they making it? They made everything in the warm-ups. Why aren't they making it now? And that's it. That's anybody. We don't know who the best basketball player is. There's probably somebody out there that would smoke Jordan and Kobe and Shaq and LeBron in a pickup game at the park. But when the lights are on and people are watching, that's really all that matters.
It's tough. Even my last fight, sparring, I felt so good beating everybody up in sparring, throwing hands, doing everything, and then time came and I'm like, shit, now it's time to wrestle grapple, and I didn't throw my hands at all.
Yeah,
so,
that's totally a good example.
Yeah.
You froze, you just did not move it all the first round. Then then you're like, all right, I'm fighting. I got to pick it up. But
I wrestled good the first round, but we had a heavy game plan where I'm going to stock him down. I'm going to jab. I'm going to throw my hands and do all this crazy stuff. Warm ups, right? I'm cracking pads hard, and then the fight comes, and I'm like, oh, shit, where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he? Where is he?
Well, and that's the thing is competition is when it matters. It doesn't. You can be a gym hero. You can drain 100 threes in a row, but can you do it when somebody's guarding you? Okay. Now can you do it when somebody's guarding you and you're playing a game? Now can you do it when somebody's guarding you and you're playing a game with millions of people and everything is on the line?
Yep.
Exactly. So that is the difference there. I mean, you hate William Knight as a human. You hate him as a bodybuilder. You hate him no. But as a fighter, I think you've always bet against William Knight because he's always inactive and he always does that a lot. I actually think he has a lot of skills, even though he does that. But then you see that, and this was kind of the biggest example of. Have you seen a bigger example of somebody freezing in a fight than this?
I'd have to think back, but honestly, I didn't even watch the fight.
Really?
I just heard about it. And
it was
that
bad.
Told me everything I needed to.
But then on the other side of that, you have Prachnio, who just like shadow boxed and did light bag work with Will Knight.
Hey, good for him.
And but at some point you've got to go in for the kill. You've got to do stuff, and yeah, he won. But it's kind of like, and I'm not saying any of this is on Prachnio, but it's just funny to see somebody not fighting on one side, but then on the other side, you also don't see them. And I know people are worried, like, hey, is he rope-a-doping me? Is he playing something weird?
Yeah,
you don't want to get caught. But still, it's weird to see two people not show up versus just one.
Yeah. Greg Hardy lost this week. Bare knuckle.
Yes. Hey, well, point that up a little bit, that mic. Yeah. There you are, Brandon. What, he got brutalized, right? I didn't see that one.
He didn't look the worst, but then he got chinned first time in the first round, very, very end. He was looking good until then, and then came out and got chinned one more time. Like, just not necessarily. I don't know if you say brutalized. The other guy had a cut that was touching his skull. Like,
okay.
But yeah, he lost once again. So that experiment's probably done as well.
Yep. And what does Greg Hardy do now? Is it power slap?
He's got to. There's only one other option.
That's it. He's got to make $2,000 to go to lose and power slap, and then it's a wrap. Then we call it good night.
I feel like everyone's got to chill on the salaries. I like to defend bare knuckle. They've changed my life for sure. That's for the entry level guys. Greg Hardy, come on, he's not making $2,000. That guy, the UFC fighter who said that, there's a reason he's making $2,000, getting offered $2,000. Right? Greg Hardy pulls in eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean yes, but it still isn't. People aren't making. Yeah, people aren't making a ton of money. And then we saw Diego Sanchez just. Hopefully, this is the last time we see that man in any sort of combat.
I actually was impressed with Diego, how he fought for that fight. We watch a lot of bare knuckle, and there's a lot of boxers that transition to it that look incredible, right? Mm-hmm. They're slipping, they're moving, they're just outpointing these guys, looking incredible. I thought Diego made that a much tougher fight than it should have been for Austin Trout, who has boxed at the highest level, been a world champion. Diego made it tough, and now there's controversy that Austin was greased up.
Oh,
Cut man.
Wait, does that, in boxing, you're allowed to grease yourself to all grease?
I guess his whole body was greased up.
It's not uncommon. It's very common in boxing to have, to put Vaseline all over your upper body before you even go out there.
I don't know what the bare knuckle rules are, but apparently there's something up with that where Cutman Perez, and we know Cutman because he actually fights and he's the Cutman. He greased, handed it to another guy, and then the other guy touched Austin all over the place and greased him up.
That's not uncommon at all in boxing to
Diego was pissed because he said, "Hey, I wanted to clinch with him and I couldn't catch him."
Okay, yeah, maybe in bare knuckle because there is more clinch work and stuff, but I don't know.
I don't think that would have changed the course of the fight. It wasn't really even like that fight. Diego really never got close. Would just kind of throw big looping hooks every once in a while, and I was rooting for the guy because I didn't have a bet on Trout. Too steep for me. Yeah. But so I was rooting for Diego, but it just didn't go that way.
Okay, weird. And then we had Blanchfield looked. She's turning eyeballs, and now you got to give it to her. She is just fighting up higher and higher competition, and now you can argue a title shot is in her cards after that. Not only did she win, she dismantled her, submitted her round 2. If she's not next for the title shot, all she has to do is wait, and she should probably
Take
get
the
pretty
Yair.
close. Yeah. It looks like you're getting a little slippage over there. We'll have to fix that.
Is that on the mic? So it's not my fault. When you
No, it's not your fault. That's just the mic is kind of sliding down. We'll fix that afterwards at some point, whatever. Just look at it. It just wants to fall down. Yeah. And then next week, so we have this week's card, which for some reason I thought we were off for a week and doing tape and stuff. But next week we have Jon Jones and Cyril Gahn.
There's a lot of great fights on that card.
That entire card is amazing. It's not quite as good as it was because Kamala Kirk is off of
I actually think it's better.
now we can just enjoy it, not freak out about it. What do you think about Jones going to heavyweight, and why? I mean, of course, Jones has been suspended 38 times for probably 38 things we don't even know in between. But why the however many year layoff to gain weight to go up a division? We see people go up a division all the time and have success. And Jon Jones probably walks at 220, 230.
Big boy.
Yeah, we see people all the time going up in weight class. Why the multi-year layoff going up?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, you would probably know better than me having talked to Jon. I don't really know why, and I don't care to really speculate. But the thing that bothers me is Cyril Gahn's looked nothing but super impressive in his whole time, right? His distance management, his range, his volume, everything he does is so good. And I know Jon is one of the best of all time, but he was having close fights with OSP, who we just saw get murked in a minute, right? Low volume. You watch Jon's early days, he's a killer. He's got the killer instinct. He's putting guys to sleep. He's elbowing that. He's doing everything. It's just like, whoa, who is this guy? And then as his career progressed, now he's picking his shots. He's moving really slow. He's low volume. He doesn't wrestle nearly as much. And it's been an interesting story arc with Jon just through the years. And so it's just hard for me to believe that everybody's writing off Cyril Gahn here, because Cyril Gahn's shown nothing but all the good traits, other than the heel hook and the weird stuff with the Ngannou fight. But has Jon ever put together a full fight of just wrestling, only wrestling?
Yeah, but it's been a long time. I mean, well, he always mixes. He always mixes.
He
always does.
5 rounds of just wrestling.
Yeah. The thing with this fight with Cyril is that Jon always has a hard time with people as tall as him, with reach as him, which Cyril is, who box. Cyril has a beautiful jab, but he kicks a lot more. So he's kind of
got small legs.
In and out. Yeah. He absolutely does. But it's the distance management that I think will. It's not like Jon's a super tight boxer and heavy on that lead foot to where he's going to kick him a lot. I think they're going to be further outside, and so I don't know that the striking is going to play as much because of the stylistic way that Cyril fights. And I like Cyril, but he's a jab guy and he's a footwork guy. He's not a power guy. And I think actually for him to give Jon, not to say that he can't beat him standing, Jon standing, it's always been his creativity that made him dangerous standing, and his range, not necessarily his technical boxing or technical kickboxing. But I think it's going to be a little bit with the creativeness of Jones and the style and the range of Jones, with the style and the range of Cyril. I think it's going to be a lot of not happening on the feet. I think there's going to be a lot of like feinting and a lot of jockeying and a lot of almost, but I don't think it's going to be like a high volume swing in and getting in the pocket and going striking wise. And I think Cyril has to be very cautious striking because Jon Jones does have the wrestling. And so you have to assume that he's going to have to play a cautious game, because Jon Jones took Daniel Cormier down, I think twice, a couple times, and Jon, I believe he's taken pretty much everybody down. And we saw Francis take Cyril down. And I think if Jon really works a lot of single leg type of wrestling with Cyril, I think he's going to end up getting him on his back, and Jon Jones on top of you is not.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Times have changed. Like that top control, times have just changed since Jon's been around. It's been a long time. There's one guy who's been active who is a true heavyweight. Jon is the one moving up. And, Jon doesn't have a small frame by any means, but Cyril's filled out.
Yeah.
He's a filled out guy. He's thick. He moves well. He's got good hips. He's got a lot of good things. So it's just crazy to me. The betting line is even, and everyone's talking like Jon is the lock of the century. And I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of former champions that are coming back in the next few months.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, yes, you're coming back, and yeah, you had a great run, but you're fighting guys now that have been active the entire time, have never stopped training, never let themselves get out of shape, that have been competitive right now, not 5-6 years ago. So it's hard for me to think of John as a lock. I get his greatness, but he was also fighting old guys. He was fighting decisions with OSP. I think back in the day, this is old spry John, 25-year-old John. We're talking, we're not even
talking.
Yeah, but now we got old John. And, he looks good on the mitts, but he's always looked good on the mitts.
Mitts don't mean anything.
They don't
They're
mean
fake.
anything.
They're fake.
Cyril, I love his range management. I love so much stuff that Cyril does. Yeah. And he's actually been in the mix. And I think that that's really, really important. Just like we just talked about, right? With even me. I was out 3 years. Coming back, it takes a second to understand your rhythm and your flow. Like, oh, whoa.
And Cyril's going to have a huge speed advantage over John.
I think so,
that is going to be... John is not overly fast. Even seeing him in the room, he is... not overly athletic for as athletic and everyone, he's not like some dynamic, explosive, fast guy. Like he moves fine and does stuff well, but he's long. He uses the leverage well, but he's not some explosive, fast, dynamic guy. So
well, just even the way that MMA has been changed in scoring too.
Yes.
Okay, so John's going to take him down, and then what? Every time he throws, it's going to give Cyril an opportunity to stand up, and now we're back at range. So I don't know. Can he put that together for 5 rounds? As old as he is. I don't know. We're going to have to see with the weight difference, and the weight is significant.
Yeah, the weight will be big.
A heavier guy like that, it's something.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this week's fights. We'll talk about that more next week. And I'm excited for that fight and the whole card as a whole. And the biggest thing, too, is it's a live event, and I only want live events now. I hate the Apex. If I could never see a fight in the Apex again, I'd be happy. Give me a local, 200 people crowd over the Apex in higher level fights any day. I need humans in there. So, all right, we've got Nikita Krylov, Ryan Spann as our main event. Had a couple mix-ups, switch outs on this card, but we still have 13 fights. So let's get through those. And now we've got Jose Johnson against Garrett Armfield, who is first. Kick this one off for us with a giant human for 135 pounds.
Yeah, so I read your breakdown on this one, and when I saw the matchup initially, I totally agreed. So you had leaned with Garrett Armfield. Now, I understand why that's there, and actually probably for the reason that we just talked about, how MMA is scored these days is why I'm going to go the other way. I think Garrett's a good wrestler, and I think he's a good boxer. I think he's got a lot of skills. He's got a good camp. He's got a lot of good things for him. But he's going to take Jose down, and then what? He has to throw. And Jose is so long, I can tell you that style is one of the hardest styles to deal with. Just somebody who has literally long legs and will move them, and it's tricky with jiu-jitsu. And I think that's Jose. He's tricky enough. He's crazy enough. He's wily enough. And then on the feet, I actually think he's really clean. I think he's got a good jab. He throws inside low kicks, and he's really clever with that. Can Garrett put it together for 3 rounds without getting hurt, without getting touched up on the feet? I don't know. I don't love this one either way. But I think I'm going to have to go with Jose Johnson.
Okay. I disagree on this. I think, let's look at Johnson's record. So he beat 6-0 Mo Miller with a triangle. Let's see, going back. And that's pretty much his only submission from his back. I mean, he's got a couple rear naked chokes, lost by rear naked choke. Mo Miller just sat there in the guard. And all long people have a good triangle. All you do is grab the wrist and extend. And he moved the arm, and then he moved to the wrist, and then he pushed the arm out, and then he brought his leg in. And Mo Miller didn't do a thing the entire time. And I mean, Garrett Armfield moves well. He's training with good jiu-jitsu guys. Just good grapplers at Kill Cliff anyway. And those guys I'm not the hugest on lately, just because we've talked about there's too many people doing it and stuff. But Armfield's chain wrestling is really good, and his grappling is decent. He's solid. I don't dislike him. I think he will wrestle, but I think it will be things like kind of get a takedown, stay high, stay on the back. If he rolls, stand back up. But I think standing, I think Armfield is going to... I don't want to make this comparison to Armfield and JDM, but I think it's going to be similar when Armfield gets on the inside, just as JDM de la Maddalena with Randy Brown. I think It's going to be awkward on the outside. I think he's going to throw those front kicks like he does. But I think on the inside, I think Armfield is going to batter him up standing. So I think the only way Johnson wins this fight is if he can get the submission. I think he's going to lose the stand-up battle by Armfield on the inside. And then I think he's going to lose the wrestling battle
What
as
about
well.
the cardio of Armfield?
That worries me a little bit. That's actually the second part of it. Armfield slows down quite a bit, but he also has such a high pace as well. So he fights at a really high pace, and he slows. I think that is definitely, he doesn't death gas, but that does worry me a little bit.
He gets
how much
tired,
he slows.
and then you get picked
Yes.
apart by a guy.
Yeah.
I will say that Jose, he beat Jack Cartwright, who has flaws and is not the greatest, but he was Cage Warriors champion and he can wrestle. And, he put him on his back a lot.
Those two were flip-flopping all over the place like crazy. Jack, that is a
and
bad...
you don't think that'll happen with Armfield?
No, I think Armfield's wrestling is so much better, and I think his control is so much better. And I think Johnson had that good takedown on Cartwright early. The body lock threw him down. Mm-hmm. I think that just threw him off. And I don't know that he got another takedown after that. They scrambled in top, bottom, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that with Armfield, who's legitimately a pretty decent
He's a good wrestler.
And
I
on
don't
a
think he
technical
needs to,
level.
though.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to wrestle. That's not where he's going to win the fight. He's going to win the fight on the feet in his mind. That's
Who, Johnson or Cartwright?
That's
Yeah,
his path to victory.
yeah, exactly. But if he gets wrestled, I don't see him scrambling the way that Cartwright did, because Cartwright's more of a jiu-jitsu grappler scrambler, and Armfield is more of a wrestling grappler scrambler.
Exactly. So wrestlers have tougher time holding people down.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to end up on his back, is my point.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I don't think he's going to, like Cartwright and them, those two are just like top, bottom.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not envisioning
okay.
the fight going that way at all. I don't think Jose needs to take him down. That's not his path to victory. We're not seeing Jose D1.
No, but I think he's going to get beat up standing. And who knows? But I think he might try to go standing, and I think he's going to end up wanting to take it to the ground because I think he's going to get tagged up standing.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, we're split on that one.
Okay. Next up, we've got Hailey Cowan and Ailin Perez. We were just talking about this off air a little bit, and both 7-2. Ailin Perez is at MMA Masters now. They actually have a decent program. They're not world beaters, but they're tough. They have good grappling. They do a lot of stuff well. That's where Colby Covington is at now. And, tough. She fought Stephanie Eggers on... do you know if that was short notice, her fight with Eggers?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either. But she actually did well in the grappling exchanges, and where she actually had a hard time was, of course, once she got taken down and stuff like that. But it was the foot sweeps and the trips and the trickery of Eggers, who's a very high-level judo girl. It wasn't like she was just getting pushed to the fence and like double leg takedown, traditional takedown stuff that we're used to seeing in MMA. It was trips and sweeps, tosses, which Cowan's not going to do here. And then was fine throwing punches, was happy throwing punches. Clipped her a little bit, and then Eggers eventually got her back, scrambled out. That was that. But Perez is decent. She's got big hips. She will wrestle. And what I actually liked about Perez is that she will scramble it. She got put on her back a couple times and would actually wrestle up and then put Eggers on her back a couple times too. She would actually fight out of those positions. Cowan, we've heard for years now. I think maybe since she was an amateur, people started lauding her praises because of her gymnastics, D1 gymnast, big, physical, strong girl. And she's had some issues. We saw her get guillotined, a couple of times by opposition who should not have beaten her. And then we saw her in her last fight. I thought on the Contender, I remember watching that going, I could see it either way. And then I rewatched it this time, and I thought she lost. Did you rewatch that for this fight?
Yeah, I rewatched it. I guess it depends on how you view the split round. Because she won the first half of the round, lost the second half of that last round.
And usually the judges give the second, if it's pretty even, first half was fighter A, second half was fighter B. Generally, they'll give the second half.
I did think in that fight that Hailey was more effective in her half of the round.
Okay.
And I think she got to mount. She got into a dominant position where the other girl was side control, just hanging out. So I could still see it either way. I understand both.
It's kind of weird. And the thing that worries me about Hailey in that fight is she just laid on her back. When she was there was one, she didn't have the technical abilities to get back up, and she didn't have the sense of urgency to get back up. And I don't know if that was fight IQ or adrenaline dump, but either way, it worries me. She's got a really good straight left. I think that's her best strike standing. But once people throw with her, she'll clinch. She actually doesn't like to strike. She throws these kicks from everywhere, and her arms are kind of wide, and they regularly get caught, and she gets tripped for a takedown. Hailey Cowan worries me. I think Ailin Perez here. I think it's going to be a very close fight, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's probably going to be very similar to her Contender Series fight. It's one of those that you could kind of give either way. It's what I said recently on one of the fight. I wouldn't be surprised to see it a split decision for one or the other. That's a very close one. I am not on the Hailey Cowan train because I can't trust her. I don't trust her takedowns, and I don't trust her ability to get back up if she's taken down, and I don't trust her sense of urgency.
Yeah, see, I'm going to be on the other side of that. I really like Hailey, and for a few reasons. So one, okay, first of all, I think you're really biased to Stephanie Egger, only because Tracy fought her.
No, but I know Hailey, because Hailey has come and trained with us a lot, or not a lot, but for camps with Tracy as well.
So I think you're biased towards Egger. When I'm looking at Stephanie Egger, she's a judo girl, decent jiu-jitsu, decent grappling, although she did get submitted in a minute, right after that. But she has awful striking. She's slow and she's frail. The one thing that Ailin was doing was just volume and just pressing and pushing and just causing an issue. Where in this fight, honestly, I had an Egger bet, a huge Egger bet in that one, and I was terrified. I'm like, oh my God, she's so slow and so frail that Ailin's going to win just by being a spastic. Has nothing to do with skills. I think that Hailey, you have to consider the matchup at hand. She's not the greatest cage wrestler of all time. She really isn't. She tries foot sweeps that don't work. She tries, a few things. But when she does want to blast a takedown, she can blast a takedown. She's got the skill and not the skill, but she's got the athleticism to do it and the strength. I will say, because I trained with her when she was out here, she's strong as shit.
She's very strong. And her top game is great.
Yeah, she's got it's okay.
Yeah.
Because she did lose position in that Contender Series fight, which was the frustrating part. But Ailin, I think, has almost no skills. Just to me. She runs at people. She's just like chucks stuff up. She just about, let me just do something. Now, the one thing that I kept seeing was in that Stephanie Egger fight is Ailin would just run and tackle, right? And then Egger would go right to her throw from there. One thing that Hailey has very good is the wizard toss. Mm-hmm. She hit that on the Contender Series fight, which was great.
That's her best takedown is a wizard kick.
Boom, defend the hips, whizzer. And then she's going to get on top. And I think that Stephanie was so weird on top and trying to do so much stuff where I think Hailey's a lot stronger and can just physically hold her down. I think she's going to have more cardio than Egger had. I think she's going to have more forward pressure, and she'll be able to be the hammer, not the nail, kind of like Egger was being if she didn't have those throws. Man, I just don't see a path to victory for Ailin here. I mean, she's not good. She was put on the roster to lose. Contender Series, they gave her a contract off a split decision, which is pretty crazy. I think somebody knows something. I think this is a setup fight for Hailey. I think just the matchup at hand, she's got a good straight, good head kick. She's discount Holly Holm. I like Hailey in this spot.
I like discount Holly Holm.
She literally, isn't she a preacher's daughter? She's kind super religious.
Yep, she really is. And I like Hailey, and I was like, okay, I when seeing this, I was like, oh, it's got to be Hailey. Like, people are on her, this and that. And then, but again, I'm watching the skills, and I think she's strong, and I think she's strong.
I think she's fought much better level of competition.
100%. That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
People want to give her crap. Like, nobody gave Zach Palga crap this weekend for just putting his head in Jordan Wright's chest and punching him. Right? In the fight before her Contender Series, she fought that girl, Monica. And everyone's like, oh, this is a soccer mom. Monica actually showed decent takedown defense in the fight before Hailey. She's a good striker, and she moves a lot. And I don't think Hailey was really committing to takedowns in that fight. The first round, she just kind of put her head in the chest, fence push, punching. And then second round, she's like, all right, now I'm going to take this down and finish it. I think Ailin is too spastic with too little skill to actually put together a solid 15 minutes, unless she just spazzes. But I think that Hailey can pick her apart from range, and I think she can get the takedown whenever she wants.
I think maybe she gets a takedown, which I don't think will happen. I mean, not to say she won't get a takedown, but whenever she wants. I don't know that part of it will happen. But picking her apart, I don't think Hailey will ever pick anyone apart because she's so uncomfortable standing.
We'll have to see.
Like, she throws, and it looks good when she throws that straight left. But when people exchange with her, she clinches. She does not she won't exchange with people.
Yeah.
So she'll look good, but man, the punches come flying and she's going to clinching. All right, next up we've got Nuruollo Aliev out of, I think, Tajikistan. I think, where do they list this guy? Tajikistan, yep. Against Rafael Alves, another MMA Masters fighter.
Yes, they keep bringing in MMA Masters to be the A side on this card.
A side. Who you got here?
Yeah, I got Aliev. I really like this kid. I think he's a really clean striker. He just keeps it simple, stupid. Is he at Killcliff as well?
I don't know. I was trying to find. He was kind of seemed like he was all over the place on this one.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to go crazy on it.
Yeah.
Just asking. But no, I think this kid's really clean. He keeps it really simple on the feet. I think he's got very, very good wrestling. And it's like a bulldog style. Almost reminds me of Khabib. He almost weirdly looks like Khabib.
Yes.
I think he's got great ground and pound. He's brutal with the elbows. Like, he actually attempts to finish people. Now, he is going against, obviously, Rafael Alves, who honestly has so many skills. The guy is super talented. His grappling is phenomenal. His striking is good. It's powerful. The guy is super clean. He just has the cardio issue. So I think Aliev's going to win. I think he's going to be able to grind him, take him down, stay safe on the feet. But I took an under 2.5 here.
Okay.
I think that he's active enough on the ground to finish a tired Alves, or Alves nukes him early, and then we don't have to worry about any of that. So I took an under 2.5. I really like Aliev here.
See, I don't know that he it's weird. Alves has one of those cardios that we've talked about before where it almost works for him, where he'll swing and go and crazy. And we'll see that somebody else on the card too later. I forget. I'll have to look. Where you'll see him swing and then they just kind of relax and don't, like Derek Lewis. You see him swing and explode and then just settle and settle and settle and not go, and then kind of they go and burst right there. I do think that Alves absolutely has cardio issues, but when he fights the way that he does, like it's not, it's not like he death gasses.
But in this matchup, he's going to be forced to grapple.
Yes, exactly. So, but he fought to the end with Damir Ismagulov, and I don't think he got horribly gassed in that fight. The issue that in that fight, and again, you're fighting Damir, was he stayed on his back for too long, and when he tried to get up, and he had that beautiful like Granby kickover in the third where he came up out of that, and that was actually really nice. I like the Alves finish or no bet here, because I actually don't think I'm not impressed with that guy. Aliev's finishing ability on the ground. I think he kind of holds on. I think he's kind of very early style Khabib, where if he gets a takedown, he's just going to hang on you and hug you and hug you and hug you and hold you. But I don't think he's going to finish Alves. Even if he gets tired, I think Alves is just wiggly enough to like not die. And so I think he's going to go decision, or Alves wins by either like a flying knockout or probably something along those lines. Flying knee or something kind of crazy, because it's Alves. He's wild. But Alves has a really good guillotine too, like a really solid guillotine, and he will use jiu-jitsu to get back up. He jumps to the guillotine, which we hate, but he's actually finished people with that. He's a good one. Yeah. He's a good one. And then we saw him in, I don't know if it's Ismagulov or what, but we saw him, or a fight beforehand, attack a heel hook to use to get back on top and scramble out. I kind of, we're split on all of these so far. I kind of like Alves, and I'm not going from the rooftops here, but leaning Alves. It wouldn't surprise me to see Aliev get the decision victory, but this one I'm 50-50 on. But since we have to pick, I'll just pick Alves on this one. But I think the smart bet is Rafael Alves finish or goes to a decision, no bet.
All right. Good luck with that one. I think Aliev's gonna destroy him.
Gonna come in and murk him.
All right. Next up, we got Joe Solecki and Carl Deaton III.
Okay. Am I up?
Yep.
Man, Solecki's striking definitely gives you something. Like, gosh, I wish he was a little faster, a little bit more dynamic, because it's not bad. It's Pat Sabatini. Where it's like, man, you're not a bad striker.
He's a better striker than Pat Sabatini.
Yeah, but like he's just like a little slow, doesn't have a phenomenal chin, isn't bad, but just one of those things where you're like, gosh, I wish it was just a little bit better. And then his wrestling isn't bad, but it's not amazing. Like he does a good job of scrambling. He does a good job of I forget. We saw him shoot on somebody, didn't get it, but he pushed him to the fence and climbed his way back up. And then actually in his last fight, I thought, I mean, of course he had the point taken Alex, who the hell was that? Alex De Silva, who's no longer with the UFC.
Yeah.
Gosh, and De Silva is so good too. He lost that fight, I think, off the toes in the fence. But I thought De Silva completely won the third round as well. And Solecki shot in and pulled half guard. And honestly, I think De Silva, all he had to do was stay on top and punch, and he ended up backing out. It was just some fight IQ stuff. I don't know. I like Solecki. I think he's got a decent skill set. And Carl Deaton is actually not as bad as you would expect. He's been training at Extreme Couture for years now. His striking is not bad. He hits hard as a rock. His wrestling is not bad. We saw him wrestle with Justin James and kind of that whole scenario. He's got a good record. I expect to see Joe Solecki win, but like crazier things have happened than watching Carl Deaton get a kind of a first round flash KO because Solecki decided to stand up for too long without shooting early enough.
Yeah, I like. I'm kind of with you. This fight for what the price is not worth betting.
It's not bettable.
Yeah, unless you're going to go Solecki sub, which I think is his path to victory, as always. The one thing that we did see was Deaton get a little bit tired in one of his previous fights, and he got rocked a little bit. Solecki is slow, but he's clean. I like him. I think he's got really good wrestling. He slows down a little bit, too, as the fight goes.
Which we saw against Jared Gordon, where he was winning, and then, man, he gassed hard. But I don't think...
But Gordon's a cardio
machine.
Yep. And that's the difference. I like Solecki for the win here. I think he's just so clean, so technical, and he's got probably some of the better back takes in the UFC. He's really, really good like that. I'm not going to play this crazy or with conviction, but I do like Joe Solecki here.
Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Ode Osbourne and Charles Johnson. 125-pound fight. Who's winning?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I like Charles Johnson in a lot of spots, and I don't think I'm going to like him here. Not for anything more than the price. I'm becoming kind of a value guy these days.
What's the price on him? Do you know?
He's minus 180.
Okay.
Which I understand an angle for it. But the problem with Charles Johnson is he's a little bit arrogant. He's not as high volume as you'd like to see. And now he's fighting a guy that's got the same frame and build as him. And his chin is getting touched by guys that are 5'2". And he's getting rocked and he's making horrible decisions. Now he's going to finally face a guy who's not going to wrestle him, at least we think. But Ode, I think, could. Wasn't he a college wrestler, something like that?
Yeah. Yes, but at I think it was an NAIA school for 1 year because I think he wrestled in high school 1 or 2 years.
Either way, he wasn't doing karate for 10 years.
Yeah, he wrestled a year and then they cut the program. So it wasn't like he was some amazing world beater wrestler.
Was, but he wrestled.
No, but he did wrestle. He did wrestle.
So he's got some ability to wrestle if he wants to. And not that I think that is his path to victory at all, because I think if he wrestles, that's a horrible idea for him. But I think Ode is fast and he's dynamic. And these two are going to be basically at range with each other. They're both so long, so physical. I think Charles Johnson is the cleaner, more crisp striker, but Ode's got power. And Johnson will let people into the fight a lot more than they need to be. He'll put his hands down, he'll put his chin out, and then gets tagged on his chin and wonders why he's getting tagged on his chin. I think a power puncher like Ode, and that sounds weird as a 25er, but he hits hard. He can crack. I think this is a good bounce back fight for Ode. I'm going to take dog money here.
Okay. I think we've already seen this fight in Ode's last fight, Tyson Nam. I think Johnson is clean. Like, Johnson's legitimately a clean striker, and Tyson. Now, he doesn't have the power of Tyson Nam, so let's not get that twisted. But Ode, if you look at him, he's an athletic striker. He's so wide and loopy, and everything is such a big movement. And he does not have the technical abilities that Johnson or Tyson Nam does. He's just fast and athletic. And once that athleticism slows, he's not fast or athletic anymore. And so then he's making the same mistakes where in the first minute of round one, he can have his hands down and let people close to him, but he's so fast he can get out of the way. He can move. He can do stuff. Round 2 and 3, he's not going to have that same speed, and he's not going to be able to get out of the way and do the same things. Johnson's clean. He has good cardio. He has a good jab. I like Johnson here. The only thing that worries me is Johnson reaches, when Johnson is orthodox, and he'll switch stances a lot, when Johnson reaches, he gets hit with a lot of right overhands and a lot of right punches over the top because he kind of frames out weird. And O'Day is a southpaw. Now, we saw him get hit with a lot of right hands in the Zalgas fight. But, so I'm like, man, he's getting hit. But it was Zalgas would level change and then reach and then throw over the top. And so you actually saw Johnson kind of level change with him, thinking he was shooting, and then get hit over the top. So I think that's a little bit misleading because of the Zalgas one. But then we do see him get hit, and we do see him get hit with a right hook. And as long as he doesn't get clipped with a right hook early, I think he wins this fight. And Johnson does roll punch as well. And Johnson's actually the taller fighter by... They list O'Day at 5'7", they list Johnson at 5'9", but I think
they're probably pretty
They're
close.
probably pretty close, and I think O'Day probably has a reach advantage. But I don't know that one of them is going to have some big advantage over the other one.
I've stood next to Charles a few times. He's a couple inches taller than me, and I'm
Okay.
5'7".
Yeah.
O'Day's probably my size. Yeah, I think that's about right.
But I think O'Day is probably a little bit longer. Yeah. I lean Johnson on this because I think the cardio and just the technical striking is just a little cleaner, and we've never seen Johnson finished in his pro MMA career.
I'm so with you on that. Like, just as far as the technical prowess and cardio, I'm with you with Johnson 100 times. I don't know why. I just feel like his arrogance is going to get to him one of these days where he's putting his chin out, and O'Day's got the power to actually take advantage of it.
See, I think if like Charles Johnson was fighting somebody like Tyson Nam, I think that could actually, the arrogance of somebody who's as technical but hits like that. But O'Day, you see him, he's so wide and so loopy, and so like you see it coming. And I think Johnson is just going to see it coming. And we saw what CJ Vergara did to O'Day in round 3, pressured him. We saw that.
It'd be interesting to see CJ and CJ.
And which CJ?
Vergara and Charles Johnson. CJ.
Oh, yeah. That would actually be. I think Johnson would win with reach. I think with that jab, I think he would just outpoint him right there. But
he's a big flyweight.
Yeah, so I'm leaning Johnson on this. Next up, the Jordan Leavitt and Victor Martinez. I need you. Well, no, I'll go on this. I think I'm up, right? I am always going to have to bet against Leavitt, I think. Like, I just think I always have to do it. It's one of those things where I think I have to do it. He's just with his skill set and the way that he fights, and he death gasses. I think we had Trey Ogden, who we thought was going to defend. Like, that should have been the one. Trey Ogden should have won that, and he gassed worse than Leavitt did. And what did he shoot in and pull guard at the end? I forget. So in the first round, we saw Leavitt get on top when Trey Ogden threw a kick and missed, or not missed, kind of slipped, and Leavitt jumped up on top. Second round, we saw Ogden win, and then the third round, so it was 1-1 going to the third. Third round, Ogden death gassed, shot in, pulled guard, and that was that. And we saw that Ogden was actually much better than in the fight after that against Zellhuber. He's actually really good. I think adrenaline or short notice kind of got to him. But Victor Martinez reminds me of Trey Ogden. He comes from Fortis. They're going to have a good game plan and a good camp for this. He can defend takedowns a decent amount, and when he does get taken down, he'll get back up. He does the right stuff. He's actually shorter than Ogden, and he's shorter than Leavitt, so I think that's going to make it a little bit harder for him to get underneath and go. I think I got to go Victor Martinez here because and he has really clean hands. He has clean hands. He throws hard. And Leavitt is just so freaking bad. I can't believe he's there. And look, he's good at what he does. He's made a living off of it. Good for him. The cardio, the stand-up. Like I think Martinez can weather a little bit of the storm, and he's got to get him.
I think Martinez is going to put him away.
Okay.
I really like Martinez. I can't believe Martinez is a dog. I'm going to have to play Martinez pretty
good. He's going to knock him out, right?
He's got it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because the difference between Ogden and Martinez throws a lot of jabs. Martinez is in your face. He's jabbing. He's pressing forward. He's counterpunching. You see him in the pocket with Jacob Rosales. He's throwing jabs. Jacob fires back. He slips the punch, comes back with a 3-piece combo. He looks so clean. And Jacob shot in on a takedown, and he showed amazing hips. He did get taken down with a single leg. What was it? An outside single, which was a weirdly
I forget
run
what
single.
It was.
But then he just pops back up. And the one thing that I like and we talk about this a lot, is he grabbed and controlled the hand as he's standing up, which is going to stop a lot of back takes, which is going to stop a lot of the back,
damage.
The damage, right? The back jiu-jitsu stuff. He's controlling the hand. He's getting up. He's facing back out, and then he's right back at it. His cardio is good. His chin is good. His striking, honestly, is pretty clean. And his level of
And he's a jiu-jitsu black belt.
Yeah, and he trains with Diego Ferreira, too.
Yep.
Let's see. I love him. And you know what? His level of competition is solid. Like, Luis Luna... if you follow Fury FC all the time, like Luis Luna is old, but he's a tough guy. Nico Echeverri, tough guy. Manny Muro, not the greatest of all time, but man, he just went to decision with Will Starks and he won against Nate Andrews before that. Like, that's not bad at all. And then he beat Jacob Rosales, who, you know, is a CSA guy or
yeah, I think you're right. CSA.
Yeah.
Yep. Tough guy. Not phenomenal, but tough.
But he's tough.
Yep.
And he's fought for, you know, local titles and stuff like that before. I don't think Leavitt's anywhere in the same realm as him. I like Victor Martinez, and dog money is crazy to me. Let me have it.
Love it. All right, next up we've got Gabriella, Fernandes, and Jasmine Jasudavicius. You got to do this one. I didn't tape this one.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep this one short. Fernandes is a good striker. She is clean. She is a rich man's Melissa Odessa Parker. For those of you guys that love Invicta,
which is slightly different than a poor man's Holly Holm.
Yes. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum. She's a rich man's Melissa Odessa Parker. But she's got a few flaws and a few problems. So one, we'll start with Jazz. She's got an okay jab. Her striking is so slow. I mean, she is the slowest human ever. And we saw cutie patootie Natalia Silva piece her up and make her pay for that. And when Jazz couldn't just get her down, she had no answer for what to do next besides, let me just be tough and finish the fight, not get knocked out. Fernandes is a great striker. She really is. She's a southpaw. She's got good boxing. She throws body kicks, head kicks, incredible. Her biggest flaw is a lot of times she overextends herself. She throws so hard. She almost falls and takes herself down. And then once she is down, she doesn't get back up. And Jazz, you know, I don't think Jazz is incredible. She's not amazing, but she's got some wrestling accolades in Canada, something like that.
So she's got to be a good wrestler.
Yeah, obviously. But if Jazz would tell me what her game plan was for this fight, I would be like, oh, Jazz is going to win. Like, if she told me, hey, I'm going takedowns this fight, I'd say, oh, then this is an easy Jazz win. Yeah, I mean, if you told me the game plan, in a striking affair, it's not even close. I think Fernandes is going to kill her. Jazz is just too slow and doesn't have enough in her repertoire. All she does is kind of throw ones and twos, and she's just so slow when she does it. But if she wrestles, things get interesting. And the thing with Brazilians, and a lot of them, they just are more confident in their jiu-jitsu than they should be. They think they can submit everybody, and she's a purple belt, which is actually my favorite belt for jiu-jitsu. But she never stands up, and she's comfortable on her back, and she's not submitting a million people, or at least good people. So, man, it's hard for me to pick a side on this one. The line is shifted towards Fernandes a lot. I think we kind of keep letting it flip, and then I'll take a shot at Jazz, or... I honestly, this is a skip fight for me. I think I want to skip this one.
Yeah. Hey, I'm okay. Let's skip a fight. A couple of those earlier, you got to skip. I would have skipped a couple of the fights earlier, like a Cowan Perez fight to me as a skip fight, because I see it being so close, you know, stuff like that. It's okay to skip a fight every once in a while.
There was a lot of stuff that I liked last week, and this week I don't feel nearly as good.
No, not at all. Like last week, it was almost like clear winners all the way through. And that was solid. This one, there's like, if this happens, great. But like you said, you want to know the game plan. If you
Jazz, stay vicious and shoot me a DM what you're going to do.
All right. Next up, we've got Erick Gonzalez and Trevor Peek. We've seen Gonzalez now against McKinney, and we saw him against Jim Miller. And Zygos Pepper is... all right. I'm going to back up. I'm going Trevor Peek first, and then I'll talk about Gonzalez.
Right.
So... Peek is not amazing. Like, he swings hard. On a skill set level, he doesn't have bad hands on a technical level, but they're not great. But the dude swings heat and he swings hard. He throws a low kick like he is drilling on a bag, like mid-fight. He just wings a low kick. He like winds it up and like wings it, winds it up and wings it. On a technical level grappling, we saw him... In his fight on the Contender Series, I think it was that it? Yeah, it's Contender Series fight where he was trying to get taken down. His opponent was taking him down, and it was on a double. and he wasn't even doing the right stuff, but he just knew to stay tall and like kind of floated the position, which is weird because technically that's wrong, but it's kind of right. It was like he kind of did the right stuff without even having to try to do the right stuff. And then he got taken down and just immediately popped right back up and knew to not stay on his back or play guard. And so it's weird for as little technical aspects as he has a really good fight IQ. And like
by accident.
Yeah, like almost by accident just knows how to win a fight. He's not great, but he's the other one I was talking about cardio-wise. He swings for the fences. He goes balls out, tries to kill you, but then afterwards just settles back, just kind of runs. You see his power meter going up like a video game. You just see his like meter climbing, and then once it climbs, then he goes again, and then he settles back and just keeps going. I don't love him, but dude knows how to fight and he knows how to win. On the other side, we have Gonzalez, who I was trying to find a way for him to win this fight. Like I was trying to find every which angle I could find for him to win this fight. And I just don't know that it's there. I just think he's so sloppy. If he would offensively wrestle, like I maybe I could see it. I cannot wait to fade Peak. I just think that I think Gonzalez is just so sloppy and loopy, and he's going to stand and trade with him for too long. And then if he does wrestle, I don't know that he's got the jiu-jitsu to keep him there or really control him. And I could see Peak just popping up. I wanted to find a way Gonzalez wins this, but I don't see it here. I think Peak wins this.
I think the sloppiness is actually why Gonzalez has a chance. Peak, you watch on the show, there was on the Contender Series, there was one time where they broke off the fence. As the dude is backing up, he runs and throws a flying knee that was like
20 feet away.
It was 20 feet away. And I'm just like, why would he ever think to throw that? Like, it wasn't like the dude was advancing or shooting in on a takedown. The guy is literally backing up to the center of the ring, and he threw a static flying knee, thinking it was going to hit. And I'm like, what is this?
It was
and then
horrible.
He's just standing there, just throwing bombs. And weirdly, Erick was not as bad as I remember. Obviously, he's not good, but he's not as bad as I remember. And I think that sloppiness and just the game, him being game and being in the pocket, we're talking a puncher's chance. I mean, Peak got rocked a few times in that fight.
Yeah.
You know, Gonzalez has been in there with McKinney, Jim Miller, like guys that are good. I feel like I want to take a shot on Ghost Pepper.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to find a way, and while watching Peak, I was like, oh yeah, it's got to be Ghost Pepper. He's got to be the one. And then I'm watching Gonzalez, and I just don't think he's the guy. I just thought he looked really. I don't think he has the power to hurt Peak. And if
he hurt McKinney.
Did he hurt McKinney?
He hurt Miller.
Yeah, but
he
everyone
hurt both
hurt.
Guys.
Yeah, but one McKinney's chin has never been great, and he kind of lunges in. And I feel like Miller kind of lunged into
Peak
to
doesn't
those
lunge
punches.
in at all.
No, he absolutely does, but he throws just heaters on it. I'm not saying that I don't think Gonzalez can win. I just think that Peak will probably end up getting it done.
Probably. I think this card is a showcase for their Contender Series people.
Like it really is. Like
here's the worst people on our roster. You can get rid of them, and it's a spot for our Contender Series people to shine.
Yep. And I do think Gonzalez could win this, but I've got to lean Peak based on just his ability to try to win. Just, you know, he goes out there, balls out. I don't love him at all, but I think he wins on this one.
All right. What do we have next?
I don't know. What do we have next? Mike Malott and Yahon Lainesse. Yeah, these are all like the UFC is scrubbing some roster spots. I feel like this whole card is a scrub spot. So I don't mean that in terms of like fighting scrubs. I mean they're scrubbing away the losers here. There's a lot of people getting cut after this card. All right, what do you got?
Are you gonna hold your phone the whole time?
Oh, I'm just looking at it. I
know.
I can put it down.
I was like, this guy is he's watching a movie while we're shooting a podcast. This is a tough one for me. This is probably one of the tougher ones, only because we have so many unknowns about Mike Malott. I think technically he's very clean, very good striker. Jiu-jitsu wise, we've seen him be very good too, even when he competed on the Fury Pro Grappling.
Yep.
And rumor around the Alpha Male Gym is that he's phenomenal black belt. He's super, super good. as evidenced by his guillotine.
Yes.
That guillotine was one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen.
And his back take against, forget who it was, he jumped on him, pounced on him, and submitted him even kind of in transition of getting his hooks in.
Was that Renfro?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he is very, very clean. And then, Yahon on the other side, we've talked about Yahon a lot. He lacks so many skills. He's got awful cardio, but he does fight. I mean, he fights and he fights hard.
And he's got a death touch.
He does hit hard. I think the best play in this fight, to me, is doesn't go the distance. I really hate picking a side only because all of Mike Malott's wins are first round.
Yeah.
All of Yahon's wins are first round, right? This is we haven't seen Mike Malott's cardio tested. His chin has been suspect at times. Right?
Very.
He's gotten tagged a lot. So we don't know how it is. And Yahon could just march forward like a zombie and touch him up, and that's the end of it. Or Mike Malott could make it look like the easiest fight of all time by taking him down and submitting him. I think I'd have to go Mike Malott here, just hoping and praying that he's got good cardio and got a better chin. I don't know if that's possible, but he's got good cardio and can sustain a fight. But I think fight doesn't go as a play, and then if aside, I'll go Mike Malott.
100%. Neither of these guys are going the distance. And if somebody gets tired, I think actually if they're both dead tired and they both
Sloppy
just
decision.
No, I actually don't think so. I think if they're just both dead tired, and something weird happens, Malott's jiu-jitsu, he will find some cardio for 10 seconds to finish a submission. Whereas I think Yahon, if they're both dead tired, that power is gone and you can't really so I think, but the issue with Malott is his chin, and he's fought as low as 145, and now he's fighting at 170. And so, of course, we saw Dawodu chin him, but we've seen him get rocked in pretty much every fight. And he's getting better standing, but it's his left hand. It's not his left hand. He gets hurt with right hooks. He gets hurt with right hands, partially because his left hand, he floats it. He doesn't even he'll float it out, and he looks the part and he gets hit over the top, but then he has this really high, weird guard, up and over, if you guys can see, and he holds it high, but then he even gets rocked when people punch through his arms, and it seems to always be right hands.
And now he's fighting a power puncher.
If the issue with this, I like Malott here, but the issue with this is he just got a knockout, and he stands up too long for my comfort. If he would just shoot in and wrestle Yahon, this would be the easiest fight of his life.
He could look like the easiest play on the whole card.
Right, and then he's just going to stand out there and move, and he's going to get hit a couple times, and does he get rocked before he shoots and what and this and that. I like him to win. I think like you said, the fight doesn't go the distance, I think is the easy play here.
So was it with the Palga Wright fight last week, which was crazy?
Yes, yep. So that's this fight. You either go, and if you want to bet one of these people, you go Malott submission or Yahon KO. Mm-hmm. But again, I think just the fight doesn't play, because I mean, this is a toss-up. You could literally flip a coin, but it's what we said. It's if you just knew their game plan, why wouldn't Malott, knowing that Yahon gasses as much as he does, why wouldn't he go out there and just wrestle him round one? But he's going to go out there and strike a little bit. And
especially being at Alpha Mill where all they do is wrestle and go submission.
Why not do it? Make your life easy. You don't have the chin to do it. You're at 170. You have the frame. You have the cardio. You have the wrestling. You have the submission skills. Why make this fight harder than it needs to be? And he's going to probably make it harder than it needs to be. I assume Malott will, not even assume, I lean Malott. But yeah, the fight doesn't go as
that's
like
here. 10 of these now, and we've only had 10 fights. That were
I know, because they're all that way. I mean, it's you have Trevor Peak fighting, the dude who's not good but just swings
Country's
for the
tough.
fences. Yeah, you've got Jordan Leavitt, who is so one dimensional, and he's so good at that one dimension, but then he's so sloppy everywhere else. I mean, Carl Deaton. I mean, this whole card. There's a lot of grenades on this card. Don't just bet this card to bet this card. Choose stuff that you really like and save a lot of money just for next week. You know what I mean? This
100%.
is a saving card. All right, next up we have the return of Tatiana Suarez up a weight class against Montana De La Rosa. Am I up?
I think I am.
Okay,
but
go.
If you want to take this one, go ahead.
No, I'll go on this one. This is a tee-up fight for Suarez. This is they're giving her the exact opponent she needs And then if she gets by her, I mean, it's been 4 years since she's fought.
That's crazy.
So like you said, I mean, it's crazy. She is amazing. Her wrestling is phenomenal. She's actually big frame for 25, let alone, I mean, not huge frame at 25, but
she fills in okay.
She fills in fine. Yeah. And striking wise, her and Montana actually have a very similar like style, like kind of stance, their movement. But I think even 4 years ago, Tatiana, I think was more technical than Montana now striking and more comfortable striking. I assume 4 years is going to change some stuff. And now she's at Extreme Couture versus Millennia where she was for a long time. I think that's just going to make her better and better. Montana is a wrestler, but I don't believe that she's going to out wrestle Tatiana.
She has trouble out wrestling a lot of people.
Yes, and so I think, I mean, you've got to go tee up Tatiana here. The only thing is, I would, if you're going to touch this, and she's got to be probably minus $1 billion at this point.
Yeah, she's minus 800 at least.
Okay, so I don't even know if there's a prop bet here because it's been a long time. Does she not even try to fight the first round and a half and get the ring rust off, and then it ends up going decision? Or is it, I wouldn't touch this any which way just because of the line on it. I assume Suarez is going to win, but I wouldn't touch a prop on it.
Yeah. Okay, good. We're well on Suarez. No need to dive into it.
Yeah.
She's the way better version of Macy Barber, and we saw Macy out physical Montana De La Rosa.
Okay. All right, give us thoughts on Augusto Sakai and Dontel Mays.
This is actually a really tough one to me. This is a really tough one because, when the line came out and Sakai was an underdog, I wish I grabbed it because, I think Sakai is good. He's only losing to top-level guys. He's got clean Muay Thai, and he's got a good fight IQ. But he's fat and unathletic. And Dontel Mays is almost the opposite. He's complete ape, those random stuff, kind of all angles, but he's so athletic and so fast.
And big.
And huge. What is he, 6'6"?
6'6".
Like that? He's crazy. And so where are we with this one? I've gone back and forth. I saw someone say Sakai is washed and he doesn't care anymore. And I'm like, I can kind of see that. And then, Dontel let us all down with Hamdi Allah da blah, blah, blah. But Hamdi was a wrestler his whole life and wrestled in the Olympics. Whatever his accolades are, he was a wrestler.
He's a Canadian wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. An Egyptian, even worse. I don't know where to go with this one. The one thing that I did like in Sakai's last fight, Spivak was taking him down a lot. But he was constantly getting up. He was always getting that leg out. He does better get-ups than, honestly, most other
than a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, he's fat, and I'm like, oh, there's no way he's getting up. And he's sliding the leg out. He's controlling the hands. He's standing up, and he looks clean. And then do we have an even fight on the feet? Honestly, Hamdi was out striking Dontel a lot by just standing there in the pocket and just meeting him with straight punches. Every time that he loops in and he rushes in and he throws this blitz and he's leaving his chin out and everything's crazy, Hamdi was catching him by almost doing nothing. And what does Sakai do? Sakai does nothing but in a technical way. He's jabbing, throwing straight punches. Everything is clean Muay Thai. He's throwing leg kicks. Again, if Dontel told me I'm going to wrestle, I'm like, okay, I kind of like Dontel here. I think Sakai has more skills, and I think he's more of a veteran. Even though he's extremely unathletic, I think he does a lot of the right things. So by betting Bible standards, I think I have to go Sakai. But again, this is a stay off one for me because I could just see Dontel just be younger, faster, cleaner, and destroy him. But I'm going to go Sakai.
What's funny is I think I'm picking up my phone, Brandon.
Age?
I think they're the same age, but Sakai is old for 31 and Dontel Mays is a young 31. Yeah, they're both 31, but I know what you mean. Like
Sakai is 31.
It's crazy, right? It seems like he should be 40 for
I
how long
he was about
he's
to
been.
Accept a head coaching position down there.
Yeah,
at NCT or whatever.
It's crazy. So initially when this went out, I was like, oh, I'm assuming Sakai is gonna murder him. The level of competition, we always kind of know Sakai is good. He does everything well. Like, Sakai's the guy. Like, of course he's going to win. Dontel Mays is...
I have faded Sakai every one of his last fights, though.
And he's like 2-2 in his fight, 2-2, I think, in the UFC. And I really did...
Sakai's lost like 4.
No. I'm saying Dontel. I believe he's 2-2 in the UFC. The Hamdi fight, again... he grappled, and we like to make fun of his Egyptian wrestling, but he clearly was a much better wrestler, and he got the takedowns and went. But and even on the striking though, I think wrestlers like that, it's what we talked about with the Charles Johnson fight. Yes, they level change, and you're so worried about the threat of the takedown when they're close that those punches end up landing. And Hamdi is one of those big power punching, swinging guys who that is not Sakai. So that you know what I mean, those are just two different things. And somebody swings like that, whatever. But I thought Dontel was winning that stand up battle. I think if it didn't touch the ground at all. Like you remove all of those parts, I think the fight goes to Dontel.
Yeah, but Hamdi's not the same striker as Sakai.
No. I'm just saying. I thought it was that was the fight. I thought he clearly won it. I liked Dontel Mays. I think his striking is actually not bad. I think he's fluid. He's long. He switches his stances, but not just to do it. He'll mix it up. We're not worried about the threat of the takedown really on either of these guys. I don't think
I think that Dontel has way more grappling upside than Sakai.
Yeah,
has.
But I think if it's a grappling match, I think it's a cage grappling match. Like it's who has cage control and is pushing who into what. And Sakai jabs so much, but he doesn't really like power jab, really stick his jab. He paws it out there, and it almost seems like he's just clocking in at this point, but it doesn't seem like he's trying to win. And in Sakai 3 years ago, who's just going out there and trying to win, I like that Sakai, but I think Dontel May still has a little bit more fight in him, in his range and his athleticism, and his height, and
he's just a big athletic guy.
and I think he moves so well that I think I like Dontel Mays here.
Okay, you might switch me. I think I'm gonna like Dontel as well.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to. I was like, oh yeah, I almost didn't even watch tape on this because I was like, yeah, it's gonna be.
Guy's gonna blow him out.
Yeah, and then I actually the only reason why I did is I looked at the records and I was like, oh, he's lost a lot in a row. Sakai has. So then I went back and looked.
It does feel like he's done.
It does kind of feel like he's done.
He fought really hard against Spivak and then just kind of was like,
yes,
I'm good.
Yep, and. You never see it. We talked about this with OSP the other day, and you said, I think OSP is going to win. I think he's going to have, this is the time. This is the one.
I didn't say he's going to win.
No, we could play this back. You said,
no, I said Linz is going to win, but I just
you said I have a feeling
that he's
going to catch him. And I said it doesn't
say he's going to win.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind going back and seeing that. But what I said to that in response was, you don't get the fire back. It doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is people want to go, if he does.
Are you hinting at a Cyril Gahn win right now?
If he does, maybe. Well, I don't know, because I don't think Jones lost the fire. He just stopped fighting. But it's still winning. It's not like he's losing those fights because he lost the fire. So I think that's a little bit different. But I think Sakai doesn't have the fire to win anymore. You have those your whole life is getting beat up. And at some point, look at Cowboy Cerrone. But then on the other side, you look at Jim Miller. He's won some, he's lost some, but you've never seen him lose that fire where you're like,
always wants to,
always has it. And so you're like, the dude's always in the fight. He's always still there. Whereas Cowboy, you see him and you're like, does Cowboy show up? And does Sakai show up? And you can't hope that Sakai shows up because I think Dontel Mays will show up.
Yeah, I that's what I hope because Dontel just seems all over the place. If he could focus, he would have so many gifts. He could do so well.
So, all right. Co-main, we've got B. Allen, the love of your life, and Andre Muniz. Tell us. You're going on this one. We gotta hear.
I like B. Allen here. I think that I think on the feet, Muniz is not very good on the feet at all. He's kind of just chucks it until he can shoot a blast double, and then he's got a very good back take. I'll give him that. Very clean jiu-jitsu off of his back and a very good back take. But B. Allen is a black belt too. And B. Allen, he's gone up and down. Sometimes he looks world beater. Sometimes he's bag of milk. But he's good in the area that Muniz is good too. Now, Muniz obviously has submitted Jacare and guys that are much, much, much higher level. But I think B. Allen can wrestle and he can counter wrestle. And we saw that evidence against Puna and a lot of other guys. I think his striking is miles better than Andre Muniz. But the biggest thing at the end of the day here for me is the cardio. I think Muniz's cardio is horrible. Horrible. And B. Allen is spry. I think B. Allen will scramble out of a lot of positions. He's going to tag him up on the feet. And I think he's got the jiu-jitsu to hang with him or disengage altogether. So for me, I can't believe B. Allen is a dog here. I'm going to go B. Allen.
Muniz by sub.
No way.
Actually, the only thing that worries me about this fight is the cardio. Is
cardio
like what you
so
said.
bad.
I don't think it's so bad. I think it's just he fades. Like I don't think he death gasses, but I think he definitely fades. I think actually what you said is I think all 100% true. Allen's a better striker. He's a good wrestler. I don't know who's the better wrestler.
But Muniz is not a better wrestler than Allen. He's
Well,
got a blast double.
Yes, and that's a really good blast double. He snatched Erick Anders off of his feet like shotgun. Like he blasted him off of his
That's
feet.
true.
And we were
Anders looked good in his last fight too.
yes, and we were ready for Muniz and we were ready for that blast double. And we had a lot of wrestlers coming in blast doubling Erick, and he was stopping him and he was doing the right stuff. And man, Muniz, he and Erick even said after, he's like, man, I knew it was coming. And he goes, that double was so much better than I thought it was going to be. He's like, and he knew the back take was coming. He knew the armbar. He knew all of it was coming. We knew all of that stuff was happening. And he's like, dude, I just couldn't do anything. He was that good. The reason why I actually like Muniz here outside of cardio, if he death gasses, then it's a wrap here. We have Allen. But is I think Brendan Allen is going to be too confident in his own jiu-jitsu, and I think it's going to kill him.
That's the one thing that has always killed him.
Mm-hmm.
He drops for heel hooks and straight ankles, and he puts himself in shit positions trying to...
Well, not only that, is I actually think in a striking, wrestling battle and all of that, I think he's going to go, I'm not worried about the threat of the takedown, so I'm going to be overly aggressive standing up, and I think he'll get a takedown. Then he's like, and we watched it with Uriah Hall, and Uriah Hall... Erick Anders, when he got taken down, he tried to get up, and then that is what led to him getting submitted. Uriah Hall did not try to get up; he survived, and so he just stayed in position, didn't do anything crazy, and I mean got rode out for 3 rounds, but he never made the mistake to where he gave up the submission because he didn't try to get up. Brendan Allen has a better fight IQ, and he's a little bit more confident in his own jiu-jitsu, and he's going to try and get up, and he's going to try and do all of the things that he knows that he thinks he's better than, and Muniz is going to catch him in those transitions, is what I think, and that is why if Brendan Allen skill set for skill set, they fought, but Brendan Allen was less arrogant, and Brendan Allen was less confident and was a little smarter. Like, hey, I can't let him wrestle me, I can't let him jiu-jitsu me, and he played a very safe defensive game. I would see him murdering him,
just outpointing him.
Outpointing him or. Kind of Hodolfo, Chris Curtis, trying to shoot, stuffing it, and then picking him apart and beating him up, maybe even finishing him. I love Brendan Allen's skill set, and I think he could actually do that. I think he's going to go, I'm good, let's fight, and I think that's going to be his downfall.
That would be. So the cardio of Muniz and then the arrogance of
yes,
of
and Allen should win. He should freaking win.
So when you say Allen should win, I'm going to take him at plus 160.
No, it's not. It's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet. If he fights smart and skill set for skill set, I don't think he's going to fight smart, and I think he's going to be arrogant, and I think Muniz will end up catching him because of it.
All right.
So
I'm on the Allen train.
Yeah.
One more time. One last ride.
No, and Allen, man, he looked great against Jotko. You've said it for years. He's always had the skills. He's never had he's just done dumb shit. It's just been dumb shit with him.
Even in his wins, he does dumb shit.
Even in his wins. All right, we've got a main event. We have Ryan Spann, Nikita Krylov. Am I up?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I was watching Ryan Spann, and he has good, clean boxing. He has clean striking. I like it. He does all the right stuff standing. He's long. He hits hard. Good jabs. He does the right stuff. Defensive wrestling is not great, but we saw him with Cutelaba. He knows how to get back up. He does the right stuff. A full-on idiot against Anthony Smith just took him down and then just laid there and got triangled. We're like, what the hell was that? So it was dumb. I think he's getting better. I think he's coming into his own. I think the defensive wrestling is his biggest area of weakness. And I think Nikita Krylov could really out-wrestle him and do a lot there. But then you have Nikita Krylov, who is, I worry that he's going to Joe Solecki it or something like that, or Mike Malott it. He's going to stand up too long. And we saw him in the Ozdemir fight. his striking looked better in the Ozdemir fight. When I say his striking, his stance. He didn't look as like weird and loose and wiggly.
Yeah.
Like he looked tighter. Like I'm like, oh, okay, he's more technical. He looks good. And for this fight, I started watching Krylov's Ankalaev fight where he looked really loose and wiggly and weird, but wrestled early, which was nice. And then in this one, in the Ozdemir fight, his latest fight, he actually looked way cleaner, didn't wrestle, and got hit a lot by Ozdemir early. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I cannot get behind Krylov because I think he's going to stand up. I think he's going to stand up too much. I think he's going to trust to stand up more than he should. And I think if he were to just wrestle Ryan Spann right off the bat, I think he could find a victory. I think he could wrestle him, wear him out. Ryan Spann does have the good guillotine, and but I think Krylov has a skill set to win, but I think he's going to stand up for too long. And Ryan Spann, he legitimately has clean striking. It really is good. It's decent. It's not sloppy. It's not Alonzo Menefield, who used to train down there, just swinging and going. Really tight. Like, it's really solid. I'm not saying it's the best I've ever seen, but at that division, with that range, with that power and speed, I think this is a Ryan Spann KO.
Wow.
And I think Spann's plus 140 or something last I looked. And I like Krylov. I think, we saw him against Ankalaev and we saw him go full asshat against Paul Craig, where got the takedown and stayed there. He's very skilled. He has such a good skill set, really good wrestling, took Ankalaev down. But I think he's going to be too confident in standing for too long. And I think it's going to bite him in the ass.
I'm going Krylov here.
Are you?
Krylov. Ryan's chin always worries me, and his cardio always worries me. So the only way I feel like you could play this fight is Ryan round 1 or round 2 KO, or that he's going to get dragged into deep water. Krylov was super impressive in that last fight where he did get chinned and he got hurt early, and then he dug deep and just was a bulldozer for the rest of the fight. He's going to make Spann work, and if he does stand, Spann does have good boxing, but a lot of times he does overextend, and that chin is a huge liability. And Krylov isn't amazing, but he does keep it simple. And he's big, and he hits hard, and he's got the threat of wrestling. So just like you said, you feint the shots, boom, boom, over the top. I just think Krylov is way more solid, way more put together. So for me, I'm going to end the night on Nikita Krylov.
Okay. Well, sounds good. We're split on a lot of these, but I don't think that's crazy. I think these are meant
to be split. They're tough fights.
Yes, these are all like weird, tough fights. And not only they're necessarily close. It's like one factor over here versus some other random factor over there. It's like a really weird
cardio versus IQ versus
It really is. It's a weird card. I wish I could bet. I can't anymore just because of all the UFC rules and stuff like that. But if I were a current betting man, I would sit a lot of this out because you have some good fights next week. You have some good bets next week. You have a couple on this card.
Take a week off. Regroup.
Last week was slaughtered. I mean, it was slaughtered last week, which was awesome. I mean, you won almost every bet. Almost every one of our picks hit. Like, it was solid. You don't have to lose all of the money you made last week. You don't have to bet this week.
Yeah,
so yeah, definitely don't do that. And you guys, definitely like and subscribe, share to the channel, and or share the channel. And we'll see you guys next time.